Hey, what's up, dudes? Okay, here we go. We're round 2 for the day, and trying to do the second session. Let's go ahead and set the timer. We're gonna do 68 minutes, and I already did an hour and 20 minutes, so that's pretty good. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to code. I'm just done with this project, honestly. I think I'm just severely burnt out on this project. I'm really at the final stretch. I feel like I've said that many times, but like it's actually true this time. It really is. So like there's the what do they call it in programming? It's like I don't know, they have like 80-20, 90-10. They have, there's all kinds of different like what do you like percentage rules, but I guess basically like the one that I'm thinking of is where you think you have, I don't know, let's say you think you have a month left before you're done with your project. Well, that probably means you have like 3 months left. If you have like it's like if you think you have 20% left, you probably have like 60% left. It's just the way it is with programming. It's like you going up on the horizon, and it's like as you get closer to the goal, it like goes away from you, like at about a third of the rate that you go forward. Your finish line also moves forward, just because of things you didn't anticipate, and it really makes the process, it can become demoralizing, especially once you're really close to the end, because you've told yourself so many times like, oh, I'm almost done, and like you really thought you were almost done. It's just the way that it is. That's part of software engineering. That's just something you have to get used to. So anyway, I'm struggling with that, but I'm like really almost done here. So let's jump in. We stopped at line 269 in save logic. We're going through the second/final pass of save logic save state. Function implement save logic associated with master save object list. Yeah, so we're making good progress. Let's go ahead and jump back in. 269, okay. Let's hop over there. Okay, so this is where we stopped. Next, we need to refactor below section as is still in first pass state. After next, continue addressing the question mark denoted entries in the master save object dictionary regarding which classification ID they should have. Dun, 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 dun. Like I don't even know this was I didn't know that dum 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 dum. I thought that was like 007, bro. I didn't think that was Donkey Kong. I don't know. Getting old. I don't even fucking remember. Is it working? Yeah, it looks like it's working. I'm squinting. Always squinting, huh? Always squinting, dude. You get my eyes checked, probably. Okay. So, continue addressing, need to refactor below section. So, let's look at this below section. And I'm speaking on the... Okay, so I forgot to add this line. I know what I can do is I can add this. Elif self... We can just say else, which is basically the same as saying elif. So, we'll say else. I just do that because it's a little bit more performant. It's basically stupid, but whatever. I'm like a performance freak, so maybe it'll pay off one day. I don't know. Elif self master save object save object dict at key is equal to 4 if oddball classification. So oddball classification. Okay, so in the case of, why is this indented strangely? Because I don't know why. Okay, and then we have elif. We should do that. Create an empty dict for a card. Okay, so what's going on here? This is silly. Create an empty dictionary for a card data population. Okay, so this is for card group dictionary. Which ones are actually oddball? So that's what we can do real quick. We're a little scattered here, but that's okay. We're gonna we can be a little bit scattered. It's okay to be a little scattered, dude. I'm like totally fucking retarded. I could have swore I posted my stream. I'm tripping. I got so fast at that shit. I did it so quick. I didn't even know if I did it or not. Why do we have this bookmarked? This is not something that we need bookmarked. Okay, so we're looking for the oddballs. We got card group dict, so we're just gonna copy them and paste as we go. So we'll add a bookmark here so we can hop back quickly. So I'll just go ahead and paste all of the different entries that are oddballs. So literally just one. Really? Card group dictionary. Okay, well. I mean, that's easy. Yeah, and I don't even need these comments anymore. This, ensure this is loaded after setup is running, client pi upon reconnect, aka load from DB must happen after setup. Upon save needs to be converted from, yeah, we don't need that. Just load it after setup. All of this is going to be run after setup. And we know that card list classification needs to be converted to skeleton format. We already got that figured out, so we can go ahead and we can just get rid of this shit. These comments here. See how pretty that is now? It's beautiful. Ensure this loaded after, upon save, upon load. Now we have needs to be converted. Okay, so this one is different. Yeah, this is the oddball here. Upon save needs to be converted to card. Instead of saving ID card, we'll be saving. Okay, so we'll just copy this. We'll copy this, and we'll get rid of that. And then we will must be loaded prior to multiple choice text 1 and 2 due to the fact that it depends on this being loaded first. And this will just be a comment. It doesn't need to be a caution comment now. This will be loaded after progression text. Okay, so we do go in the order of the dictionary because that we probably need to review the order of this of the way that we load. Well, the order of the dictionary, because the order of the dictionary dictates the load order, which is this synonymous with the save order. So we need to have the correct order. Certain things do need to be loaded in before other things. So yeah, that is important. Let's see here. I will just add that as a thing to do. We'll review the master save object dict. So let's go over here and we'll add this. We'll do this after we do save data. This will be the next task. And we're not supposed to have that exclamation point there. It'll be, paste that in. Master save object dict object order review, and this is really straightforward. Review the order of the objects in the save logic dot. Well, it's actually the database dot master save object dictionary. To ensure proper order for loading sequence. Yep, very straightforward, easy. Okay, so the only one that's in the oddball category is the game.cardgroup dictionary, which handles the XY display layer. And we already... Let's see if we still have the notes copied. Nope, I overwrote it, so I have to go back, copy again. Now we need to go to the next bookmark here. Not that one. Here we go. Okay, so we already have it pasted, but we need the comments. And it's going to mess up the indentation, because that's just what it do. There it is. Okay, below line upon save. We'll just leave a space here because it's kind of confusing to separate them. So this is else, and this only pertains to the game.cardgroup dictionary. Currently, as of 6/4/25. Need to refactor below section as it is still in first pass state. Continue addressing the blah blah blah. Okay. And then after next. So let's go to that bookmark. Find the one with the question mark. So there's only one with the question mark right here. So that one will get a bookmark. Yep, so that's it as far as the question marks. Okay, so when we load in, what we need to do is we need to have a way to access which classification they are. And the way that we could do that is just by accessing the master save object list, right? So we would say object name. For object name blob and cursor, select object name value from save data. So since we're grabbing the object name, we could just access the object name through the dictionary. It has the exact same object name because that's what we saved it from. So then we could just say self dot master save object dict at object name, right? Yeah, and this will give us gives us value, gives us the classification ID value. Classification ID is not really a data structure. It's just what we call the value. Like, it's not an actual variable or anything. So we would say, well, it is now. So we'll say classification ID. Yeah, we can just call it the classification ID. That's fine. So the classification ID is equal to self.master save object dictionary at the object name. It gives us classification ID value that's going to be 1, 2, 3, or I don't use Oxford comma, baby. We don't use Oxford comma around here, though. That's blasphemy. Get it out of here. Okay. And then we would say if classification ID is equal to 1, and then we have elif, or basically we'll just copy this and prefix it with elif and put 2, and then copy that. Then we're going to have 3, and then we're going to have 4, which is going to be else, which is just the same as saying elif classification ID is equal to 4. So we're going to move this up here for category number 2. Classification 4 oddballs. This needs to go right here. We'll say this below section. Just copy this real quick. Simple save. Okay, so simple save. We'll call it classification instead of category. Oh, important point here. Question. So this is important. Question is the, and that's actually supposed to be denoted by that. Is the database going to be ordered in the same exact order that it was saved in? Let's go ahead and check that out on Chippity Jippity. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what ChatGPT got for us. Improved memory, baby. I believe you. Python SQLite 3. The Python SQLite 3 module, when you save data to a table, the rows in the database file are not guaranteed to be stored in the same order as they were inserted. Here's what you should know. No SQLite does not guarantee the row order unless you explicitly use order by when querying. SQLite is a relational database, not a flat file. It uses B-trees for stable table storage, particularly if the table has a primary key or row ID, which affects how data is organized internally. For example, okay, create table test ID integer blah blah blah, extremely insert into test ID 5 blah 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 blah. Fetch without order by. Order is not guaranteed. Fetch with order by ID. If order matter, always use order by in your SQLite. If you need to preserve insertion order, you can add an integer primary key auto increment column preserves insertion sequence, or explicitly add a timestamp or sequence number column. Okay. Since order actually does matter, this is something that we will have to take care of. Yeah, because order does matter here in this case. Yeah. So we have to take care of that. We have to make it sure that the order is correct. So how do we do that? Well, looks like we're gonna have to add an integer primary key. Fuck. I didn't want to do any more, like, damn, bro. Okay. It is what it is. So we have to add that. That's another thing we gotta do. So let me just make sure I got this right. So it's not gonna be, if order matters, always use order by in your SQLite queries. If you need to preserve insertion order, you can add an integer primary key auto increment column. It preserves the insertion sequence. Okay. Um. Okay. I think that's what we're gonna have to do. And then whenever we select, yeah, we're gonna have to, whenever we select, we're gonna do the order by. So we would do select ID value from test, order by ID. And it would be in the correct order. What does that mean, the correct order? So when you do, so in above case, if you use order by, it will return values in order from 1 to 5. Yes, in your example, using order by ID will sort and return the rows in ascending order of ID, regardless of the order in which they were inserted. So 5, 2, 3, 1, 4, and then when you do select ID value from test order by the ID, it will return a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it always gives you a sorted result from lowest to highest ID. If you instead want insertion order and you're using an integer primary key auto increment, you could also order by row ID or your auto increment field. If you instead want insertion order, and using an auto increment, you could also order by row ID or auto increment field. You could also order by row ID or your auto increment field. Let me know if you want an example of reserving insertion order. Okay. If we have insertion order, does that automatically mean it will have retrieval order despite not using order by on selection? No, even if rows are inserted in a specific order, SQLite does not guarantee retrieval in insertion order unless you explicitly use order by. SQLite sort rows based on internal structures and features which optimize for lookup speed and constraints, not for maintaining physical insertion order. If the table has a primary key or an auto increment field, SQLite will often sort and retrieve data in some logical order by primary key, but this is an implementation detail, not something to rely on. No order by. So you should always use order by, basically. Example, the order by insertion in order is not respected. Okay, and then you might see that, blah, blah, blah. I understand. But that's not guaranteed under certain circumstances, blah, blah, blah. Rule of thumb, always use order by if you care about order, whether that means order by ID, if you want numerical order by row ID, if you want insertion order. Order by row ID if you want insertion order. Order by timestamp if you added one yourself. I don't think we add timestamp. So we're just gonna have to basically do what it said initially. So what do we have copied on the clipboard? We're gonna do it. All right, so let's go ahead and go over here to Siggity Save Logic. Go to things to do. We're gonna add this as a task to do. After finish logic save data. Well, yeah, it don't matter. As long as you do it before we test it, my save object, let's do a review. This should be in quotations, and it should also be database dot. Alright, so let's add this next task, and that's, we'll just put database order by ID auto increment. Yeah, so we need to add in code which adds a column to the database which is an ID that auto increments so that when we select for loading in data, it will be in the same order that it was saved, i.e. select using order by ID. I don't like this chill wave mix anymore. I just don't like it. Matter of fact, I kind of want to take it off my playlist. Take it off my playlist. Peace. All right. Okay. What do we need here? Carnation, blah 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 blah. Save logic pi. Yeah. Use comments from save logic. Okay. Let me make sure I have this straight. So if we insert it in this order, okay, so it will sort and return the rows in ascending order of ID, regardless of the order in which they were inserted. Okay, so, but if we iterate through a list of object names, and we save to DB for each iteration using the auto incremented ID as the primary key column, would the order of iteration through that list match the order that was used in the DB for the associated ID column or row values? And it's going to know exactly what I meant. Yes, if you iterate through a list and insert each item one by one into an SQLite table that uses integer primary key auto increment, then the ID values will reflect the insertion order exactly, and you can reliably retrieve the rows in the original list order by querying with order by ID. So if you iterate through a list and insert each use integer primary key auto increment, then the ID values will reflect the insertion order exactly, and you can reliably retrieve the rows in the original list order by querying with order by ID. So auto increment ensures each row gets a strictly increasing ID as it is inserted. Since you're inserting in the same order as your list, ID values will match the list index order starting from 1. So if you have Alex, Bob, Charlie, you create table people, ID, integer, primary key, auto increment, name, text. For name names, cur execute, insert into people. Name, values. Retrieve. So then you just enter in name and you do comma, and it automatically does. Like, you don't have to like put anything for the integer primary key. You don't have to put any like value for the placeholder. You don't even have to put a placeholder for it, because it's like a built-in thing. It does it automatically for you. So then when you do select name from people order by ID, the output would be Alice, Bob, Charlie. So it would go Alice would be 1, Bob would be 2, Charlie would be 3. So then it's going to output in that same exact order. If you omit order by SQLite, it might still return them in order, but you can't rely on that. Duh. Okay, that makes sense. So what we need to do is we're basically just going to copy this line here, and we'll go over here, and we're going to put add column to DB, and it's going to use basically this code here, cur execute, create table, blah blah blah. So we need to find the create table. I guess we can go ahead and do this right now, right? Like, we'll just go ahead and take care of it. So we'll just put this as the first task since we're gonna go ahead and like take care of it right now. If it feels right, just do it, you know? So that's how I feel. It feels right. Let's do this. So client back, save. So cursor create table if not exists. Okay, so this one needs to be changed. We don't want SQLite tests. We don't want that. We just want create table if not exists. Okay, so this is the other one. And we're gonna figure this out later on, which one we're gonna like, which one you're gonna be using. Create table if not exists, save data object name. So this is not gonna be the primary key anymore. Is that gonna cause any issues? So the object name is not gonna be the primary key anymore. I don't think that's gonna be. The unstable constantly updated DB table periodically copied to save data stable DB and save data stable backup. So there's another one. There's another. Some Star Wars shit. Let's see what constantly updated DB table or Lord of the Rings shit. Depends. Create table not exist save data object name. Now we're gonna say. Paste that in. No. Let's go back over to where is it? Create table people ID integer primary key auto increment. So I do want to copy it because I want it to be right. So let's do paste that in. So we have create table if not exists. The save data is the name of the table, and then we have ID. Column, which is going to be an integer. It's going to be the primary key, and it's going to auto increment. Then we're going to have comma, and then we're going to have a second column, which is the object name. It is the text, and you can't have two primary keys, so this is just going to be object name text, and then we have value blob. Okay, so we have the three. We have the ID, the object name, and then the value. The ID is going to be an integer, it's a primary key, and it's going to be auto increment. I didn't actually test this line, so I guess let's just go ahead and test this real quick. So let's go over here to test SQLite test, and we're looking for, let's see what we need to do here. So we have cursor, and then we can do isolation level equals none, game cursor. Where's just con? Isolation level equals none. So then we'll do GameDB isolation level equals none. Level equals none. Alright. What next? So isolation level equals none enables auto commit. So we want auto commit enable. Now we have con, we have the cursor. Now what do we want to do? We want to create the table. But we don't just have con. What? Why? You know what? How about this? I'm an idiot. Let's just use game con, and then we'll do game cursor, and then we can do create table if not exists, and then we're just gonna add in the we'll just copy this line actually, and then we're gonna have create table if not exists, save data, and then we're gonna do ID, and let's go back over to save logic and see if we can copy this real quick. So make sure we get it exactly the way that it is. Alright, now we can just paste that in. So now we have creative not exist, save data, ID, integer, primary key, auto increment, object, name, text, value, blob. So there we go. So this should create that table. And then we can do insert into save data values. And we shouldn't have to account for the ID column because it's an auto increment, and it's a basically we don't have to pass in a placeholder or anything like that. We can literally just not reference it at all. And I think we should be able to run this and it should work. So let's do Canasta, and then we're going to do testing, and then pi SQLite test. Insert into table, save data has 3 columns. Insert into people name. It has 3 columns, but 2 values were supplied. Game ID should be object name. And then value would be 1. So you do have to explicitly add it? I'm confused. I thought you wouldn't have to... Thought you wouldn't have to add it based on what it said. Because we create the table, and then it doesn't reference it at all in the insert into. Throws error, and the error that it throws is this one. You're getting the error because your table save data has 3 columns, but your insert statement is trying to insert only 2 values. Since ID is auto increment, you should omit it in the column list and let SQLite assign it automatically. You just do insert into save data, object name, values. That's not what I did. Is that not? Game, cursor, execute, insert into save data, values. Oh, I have to specify beforehand object name and then value. If I just say values, it's assuming that I'm going to be handling all 3. So I have to specify that I'm only going to be handling object name value. Okay, that makes sense. This tells SQLite insert into the object name and value columns, ignore ID will autofill. Gotcha. Whenever you're not supplying values for every column, you must explicitly specify the column names in your... When you're not supplying values for every column, you must explicitly specify the column names in your insert. So since I'm only occupying 2 out of 3 in my statement, but there's 3 of them, it doesn't know which one I'm referring to. So that's really the issue. Gotcha, that makes sense. Okay, so I just have to add in this, the object name and then value thing right here. So we would say insert into save data values, or does it precede values? It precedes values. So right here, we would say object name value. Now this should work. Okay, there we go. And then we have to retrieve it. So we would do select all from save data, and then fetch all. And this is going to throw an error now because it's all. Well, it should have been game cursor. Whoops, you can't run it like that. Well, okay, it did work actually. So then we have one game ID and then one. Cool. So if we were to insert another, and let's just call it, so we can actually have duplicates at this point because our primary key is the is that integer, that first column. So it should actually do. This should work. No connection because the target machine actively refused it. Huh, that's weird. CD Canasta testing pi SQLite test. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Oh, because we duplicated it from the first time. So if we were to run it again, it would just keep adding entries over and over. See that? Okay, so that works. So that's the syntax that we have to use. Let's see. So we would use ID integer primary key auto increment, which we already added that. ID integer primary key auto increment object name blah blah blah. Then we have, what is that? Insert into save data object name values. Why did I just... I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. You're an idiot. Creative night, blah, blah, blah. Oh, shit, dude. That's my jam. Okay, so now when we do insert into, we just have to say... Okay, we already do that. Insert into save data, object name values. Object name and then value. We say values blah 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 on conflict object name do say now. I was gonna say, what about for selects? The selects that we would have added in, they would be grabbing. If we used index 0, then it would be grabbing the ID. But I don't think that's how it works. We do fetch 1 at index 0, but we specifically retrieve. I don't know, maybe that is a valid concern. I know we do need to add the other insert into, or rather the other create table. This little snippet, ID integer primary key auto increment. So let's find the other create table. Let's copy this, and then let's do that Control Shift F. Go back to this other one here. Create table not exist save data object name. So we wanted to do ID integer primary key auto increment object name, text primary key. So that's not going to be the primary key anymore. So the integer is going to be blah, blah, blah. And then when we grab, but I don't see where we actually do that here. C execute, insert or replace into. And this is fine to do. Insert or replace into save data object name values. It will automatically handle that. The ID assignment, right? Insert disabled dissociate. Ignore ID, it will autofill. Okay, yeah, that's what we want. And then whenever we load, this is what I was concerned about. Whenever we select, So we do select value from save data where object name is equal to such and such. Pickle.loads backup cursor fetch one. So that would have selected just the value. Yeah, so I think that's the right answer. Yeah, it wouldn't return the ID column from that row because we're specifically selecting the value column from that row. So using fetch 1 at index 0, it has no bearing on, it's not selecting. Like 0 doesn't refer to column 1, column 2, and column 3. It's a different reference. So this is basically safe, in other words. So let me just look for that other select. Select. And not in client old or backup or in client. We're looking for not that either. Wait, really? Okay, I see why. So we would do open select. No, and then we want to do case match case. Client. Database cursor select exists. Okay. And then we have, what is this? Select object name value from save data where object name in. Okay. I think that should be safe. Select exists where object name is equal to question mark. What is this? Select value from save data where object name is equal to card group name. Select value from save data where object name is equal to timestamp last saved. For object name blob in cursor, execute select object name value from save data. Okay, this might need to be changed. Let's see. For object name blob in cursor, execute. Okay, we need to do order by right here, right? So we need to say for object name blob and cursor execute select object name value from save data. We need to add the order by. So first of all, let's get rid of this because I think we found what we needed, and then we're gonna go back over here to SQLite test. We're just gonna undo all these changes that we made. There we go. And so it's back to how it was. And then we want to go back to file selector. What was I about to do? Oh yeah, the order by. We need to copy that code. So let's, where is it? Select name from people, order by ID. So that's what we want. We want select from and then order by. So it's select object name value from save data order by ID. Yeah, I mean that should work, right? Because I'm an idiot. I should have left that code open that I just fucking undid so that I could have tested this. For object name blob in cursor execute select object name value from save data order by ID. object value equals pickle loads blob. Should order from 1 upwards. Yes, your code will iterate through rows in order that they were inserted, assuming you're using auto increment for the ID column. You inserted each object in a loop in list order. Each insert assigns a unique ID starting from in increasing order by ID, sorts by insertion order, since ID grows with each row. So if you did data equals A, B, B2, C, B3, for name, val, and data. First, I get into save data, object name, val, values, name, val. Yeah, later for object name, val, it should be A, B1, B2, B3, perfect line with the list original order. I don't know why it's using bytes or whatever. So yes, as long as ID is auto increment and you order by ID, this pattern is safe and reliable for preserving insertion order. Gotcha. Okay. But I do want to test it. So let's open up SQLite test again and see if we can redo the changes. Okay, cool. So we can redo them. And we want to do, what is this, select for object name blob in game cursor, execute, select object name value from set order by ID. Okay. And then we would just do print game cursor fetch all. Is that gonna work? Yeah, because the only thing we need, we don't need the ID. Like, we don't actually need it. We just need the ID to have it ordered. We don't actually need the ID. So let's see if we run this again, what happens. Okay, we don't want to insert anymore. Let me, matter of fact, let's delete this database file that we're modifying, and now we're just gonna have 2 entries, and then we're gonna run this code and see what we get here. Okay, so we only get game ID and then 2. I'm confused though. Why did it only create? Why did it not have game ID 1 and game ID 2? Why did it only do game ID 2? I'm confused. If we change this name to just have some more stuff in it, is that what's doing that? Then we say for object name blob in cursor game cursor execute, select object name value. Okay, I see. I'm a little bit confused here. I'm not really understanding why this is working the way that it is. Let's try that again. So we're still only getting game ID and then 2. Why does it not insert the first one? I'm confused. I don't understand why does this for object name blob in game cursor execute select object name value from save data. Order by ID. Okay, there we go. So if we gave this one 1, well, no, that doesn't matter actually. So if we switch them, it technically should still have the same order, and that would let us know that it's working. But first we have to delete the file again. So now it prints out. Okay, that doesn't really matter, does it? How about this? We'll just do game cursor execute select object name value sorted by ID, and then we'll do game cursor dot fetch all, and then we'll do print and see what does this return. So if we multiplied this, let's just say we had, you know, a bunch of them, and this one was so this shouldn't actually matter. We just have 2. Yeah, that doesn't actually matter. I thought maybe that was causing the problem, but I think I understand what the deal was. So actually we'll do it in order, so it should match. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And this would just have more. And we can actually have a duplicate name. It doesn't really matter. So we delete this file, and then we rerun it. We got game ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's always in the correct order. And then if we were to change up the order to be 4, 3, 2, 1, it should print out in that order. It should print out in because it should ID should be 1, 2, 3, and then 4, which would print out 4, 3, 2, 1. And it does, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we verified that works. it works as we would expect it, wherein the order that we submit, or insert rather, is the order at which it is selected. Cool. So we know that this works. Yeah, so this orders it. Begins iterating through the entire DB. Ensures returns from DB in same order that it was saved. Saved to ensure proper order of operations for certain data that needs to be applied prior to others, or to others, whatever. All right, so we're gonna stop here. And I feel like I was a little bit sloppy there at the end. Let me make sure I didn't like leave any loose ends here. Let's look at this. I feel like I might have scatterbrained just a little bit and maybe forgot to like dot an I or cross a T. So this was the select. We added for object name blob and cursor X, you select object name value from save data order by ID. And then we do object value equals pickle loads blob. So the object value. So this returns the entire database consisting ordered by the ID, and it returns the object name and the value from each associated row. It returns those two columns from each row, and they are ordered. And since they're auto incremented, whenever we do the insert, which is that even added? Is the insert the insert clause? Okay, here it is. C execute insert or replace into save data object name values. Yeah, we don't, since we designate this, it will order it because we have the created table right here, create table not exist save data ID integer primary key auto increment. It automatically has that ID. So we'll just put ensures ordered database via the ID primary key auto increment column. Ensures ordered DB via the for ordered retrieval during reconnect / load. Ensures ordered DB via the ID. So it's inserting or replacing the object name. Okay, right, so we pass in the object name. Insert or replace in save data. But this needs to be reviewed, actually. Probably need to improve this line by using upsert. See, I'm having trouble. I'm a little tired at this point. But insert or replace into save data object name value. Shouldn't that I don't think this would work. Well, no, it's ordered. Okay, yeah, I'm tripping. Hold up. So this is ordered in the order of the master save object dictionary. So it's iterating through the keys. Okay. And we're inserting the data, the final form of the data, which is the blob or whatever. We're inserting that into the save data table. We're passing in the object name and the value columns with the object name variable and the blob. And the ID is auto increment, so it's going to start off with 1, it's going to go to 2, 3, 4. So since the iteration is ordered and the list is properly ordered, or it should be anyway, then this should be properly ordered. So I'm just going to put review line just to verify, but I'm pretty sure we're good here. Review this line. A bit tired when I reviewed it in context of having added the ID primary key auto increments logic. And this should not be C execute, it should be cursor execute. So this would be cursor execute. And I think this is already upsert, so we can get rid of that. Where was that putting that I had stopped at? Yeah, we don't need to put that. We're gonna go back over here. Let's add a bookmark here. That's really good. I like that one. Okay, DB order by increment. Adding encoder to edge column to DB, which is an ID that auto increment so that we select floating DOB and the order is saved. So we just need to review that code. Well, we already know we have to, we don't even need to put this to do there. We already know we have to finish that. So I'll just put that I stopped here. Add iteration through the master save object is most probably placed there. Add iteration. Yeah, we did that. Add logic, which is documented master 10 to each particular data point that is saved. Well, we're in the process of doing that. Review function in light of it being called from within. So we can leave that until that's complete. Review function light. Second best. Save all necessary to DB. Ensure that we review final form of DB reference. Yes, you do that. So I'll put right here that we stopped here. we'll just put what we need to do next. Next, review added code which handles ID integer primary key auto increment for proper ordered saves and loads. And then after next, we need to what was the order we had? Review the code, added finish logic for reconnect save data. Use comments to write out this database master save object linked object order review. So we're going to review the order. But weren't we needed to go through the we needed to finish going through. We added that. We didn't have that in things to do. We should add that in things to do. So we have review the code. So that's what we're gonna do first on next session. Then we're gonna use comments, finish save state. Use comments to write out this code. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Use comments from save right at this logic code. I can put continue through save logic. Is there another one with the question mark? Yeah, where there's one more. Yeah, there's play cards. So that's the last one. That's the last thing that needs to be reviewed. So I'll just put that as an individual task here. Just copy it. And we'll say, we'll do that. I guess we'll do that first. So we'll review, and then we'll do review the P1 play cards 3 in save logic dot master save object. Review this section to ensure it has the proper classification ID, and then we will finish the save state true. Okay, there we go. So that's pretty good. And then we had stopped after next. So review edit code which handles it, and then after the next we're going to review Picards 3 in master save object to ensure proper classification ID. Alright, there we go. So that's line 220 in save logic. So let's go over here and let's just put the finish time is gonna be, well actually, did we copy this? I'm a little bit out of order here, but overall I think we did pretty good. That's line 220 at line number 220 in save logic. Okay, and this is gonna be 507 to 631. So we did an hour and a half, basically 24 minutes. We'll just say 1.5 hours. So this is to 629, and then we did 630. God, I'm fucking tired, dude. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Let me copy all this. Okay. And then we're gonna CD out to the root project directory. There we go. Now we're gonna do git branch to make sure we're on the feature branch, which we are. Git add to stage everything. Git commit -m double quotes, paste in that devlog. There you go. We can actually delete that file we were using here. Where is it? Testing? I don't know. Where is it? DB? It's not in DB. But we created it. Canasta testing. Game DB. Oh, there it is. It's not highlighted anymore with that color. Alright. So now we can do git push. So we can push to the remote repository since we did our commit. Yeah, we did do our commit. Now we did our push. Successfully pushed to the remote repo. And now we can go ahead and close this out. I know that was a little hectic, but I think we did pretty good there. That was like scattered, but that's just how it is sometimes. I think we did a great job. We're gonna go here, copy the new one. We're gonna go into the old, delete that. Now we should paste in the new one and go into text, devlog. Just go to the end to verify this is the correct one, and it is. Cool. So now we can go back out here. Everything is done. All right, guys. So we did a pretty good session. I'm happy with that. We're basically almost done with the save system. Very close to being done. Like, duh. We already talked about that. But I would say probably like 3 more sessions, maybe 3 more. And we're like 1 more to finish save logic. Then we're gonna move on to save state, then to load state. So you're looking at, like, I don't know, maybe 3 more sessions for that. I'll say about 3 sessions, and then we're gonna do testing of the system and all that stuff and debugging. So you're looking at probably 6-7 more sessions, but 10 more hours of work.